Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to crochet these really cute snowflakes. This is actually an easy pattern, so beginners can try this as well. I had made another tutorial on a snowflake, which is a larger version of this, and I got so many requests to do a smaller version. So here is the requested tutorial for you. If you want to learn the larger version, I will leave the links in the description box below. I'll also leave a link right here on the right top corner, so you may just click on the links to view the other snowflake, which is a larger version of this. Okay. But if you want to learn how I made the small snowflake, then please keep watching. In this tutorial, I'll be using a 4mm size crochet hook and the yarn corresponding to the size of my hook. You may use whichever crochet hook size is available to you. Just make sure that the yarn you use corresponds to your hook size. Alright, now to begin this project, you can start with the slip knot method, chain and then slip stitch to form a foundation ring. Or you can start directly with the magic circle. So it's totally your preference. Okay, you can use whichever method is more comfortable for you. And if you're a beginner and you want to learn how to do that, I have tutorials, detailed tutorials in the beginner series, which will help you. So I will leave the links in the description box below, so you may just review them and come back to this one. Okay. So I'm going to start with the basic slip knot. Okay, so I'm just going to make my slip knot first, like so. Right, and once we've made our slip knot, now we are ready to make a foundation chain. So for this project, we'll be making a foundation chain of 5. Okay, so we are going to chain 5. To make a foundation chain, the first thing you need to do is make sure your crochet hook is facing up. It's facing you like so. Okay, so that the hook side of your hook, this one right here, is facing up. It's facing you like so. Okay, and then what you need to do is place your hook below your yarn like so, making a twist of yarn on your hook. Right, and then you pull your hook down, which automatically grabs your yarn. You pull it down and pull it all the way through. Okay, so this right here is your first chain. That's chain 1. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we're going to make a chain of 5, so we need to make 4 more chains. Okay, so just repeat this again. So place your hook below your yarn like so, pull your hook down, grabbing your yarn, pull it down and pull it through. That's chain 2. Repeat that. So chain 3, chain 4 and chain 5. Okay, so here I've made 5 chains. Now we are going to convert this foundation chain into a foundation ring. Okay, so to do that, what we need to do is make a slip stitch into the first chain that we made right here. If you're a beginner and you're not sure where your first chain is, all you need to do is count backwards from your hook. Okay, so when you count backwards from your hook, you're not going to count this loop that is on your hook. Okay, you're going to start counting from the one below it. So this one right here. So this will be chain 1, chain 2, 3, 4 and 5. Right, so this chain space here is our first chain that we made. So now we're going to make a slip stitch into this first chain. Okay, so to do that, all you need to do is insert your hook directly into that chain space like so. Okay, grab your yarn, pull it through, right, and pull it through again. Okay, so that is a slip stitch, and we just made a slip stitch into that first chain space. So this converts our foundation chain into a foundation ring, and now we can begin with row 1. But before we start with our stitches in row 1, I'd just like to mention this. This is our loose end right here. right, this one right here, make sure that you're holding your loose end along with your foundation ring like so. Okay, along with your foundation ring, so that when you work your stitches in row 1, the loose end sort of gets into your stitches and you don't have to worry about it in the end. Okay, so all you need to do for that is just hold it along with your foundation ring while you do your stitches in row 1. Okay, and another thing is, when you separate your yarn, if you separate your yarn carefully, right, like so, okay, you'll see that there are 2 spaces opening up. Okay, you have this smaller space right here on top, and then you have a larger one here, right? The center of your foundation ring, okay, is this larger space below. Okay, that is the center of your ring and not the small space on top. That is just the chain space. Okay, so when you work your stitches in row 1, make sure you're working them all into this center space, the larger one below. Okay, so I guess that's it, and now we are ready to begin row 1. So to begin row 1, we are going to start with a chain 4. Okay, we are going to make 4 chains first. Okay, so the way to make the chains is the same way we made the foundation chain. So make sure your hook is facing up. Place your hook below your yarn. Pull your hook down, grab your yarn, pull it down and pull it through. Okay, so that's chain 1. So repeat that. Chain 2, chain 3 and chain 4. Okay, so here we've made our 4 chains. Now in this 4 chains, the first chain that we made, that will count as 1 single crochet. Okay, that will count as 1 single crochet for row 1. And when I say single crochet, I'm using the US term. So in the UK, that will be your double crochet stitch. Okay, so the first chain that we made here, out of these 4 chains, the first chain will count as 1 single crochet, and then the remaining 3 chains will count as our chain spaces between our stitches. Okay, if that didn't make much sense, don't worry, just make sure that you made 4 chains at the beginning. Okay, now what you need to do is work 1 single crochet into this foundation ring that we made. Okay, we are going to work 1 single crochet. So to make a single crochet, you need to insert your hook directly into the center of your foundation ring. Okay, like so. Remember the space we spoke about, the larger one. Okay, you grab your yarn, pull it through, and when you do that, you have 2 loops on your hook, right? You're gonna yarn over and pull through both the loops like so. Okay, so that's 1 single crochet stitch. Okay, then what you need to do is make a chain 3. Okay, so go ahead and make your chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. All right, and then again you're going to make another single crochet, so 1 single crochet into this foundation ring. Okay, so again insert your hook directly into the center of your ring, grab your yarn, pull it through. We've got 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through both the loops. Okay, so we just made another single crochet right here. Okay, so we are basically going to repeat this all the way around. So we are going to chain 3, make 1 single crochet, chain 3, another single crochet. Okay, so the same thing, you're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and then we are going to work another single crochet into the center of the foundation ring. Okay, so again insert your hook into that space, grab your yarn, pull it through. We've got 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through both the loops. So that's another single crochet. Okay, and again you chain 3 and you work another single crochet. So repeat this all the way around till you get a total of 6 single crochets. Okay, the 6 single crochet will include the first chain that we made. So remember, it said the first chain from the 4 chains that we made at the beginning. That one chain, or the first chain that we made, will count as a single crochet as well. So that chain plus 5 single crochets proper, or a total of 6 single crochet in your row 1. Okay, so just repeat that. So here, if you can see, this is the first 4 chains that I made, right? So this first chain will act as 1 single crochet, so that's 1. Then this is 2, 3 and 4. So I made 4 single crochets so far. Okay, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then work my next single crochet into the center. So that will be the 5th one, right? And then again I'm going to chain 3. So make sure you're chaining 3 in between. Okay, and then work my last single crochet. Okay, so work a total of 6 single crochets into your foundation ring, including the first chain 4 that we made. Okay, including that first chain 1, as I said, will count as 1 single crochet as well. So here I've made a total of 6. So make sure you count your stitches. Okay, before you finish each row, it's always best to count your stitches so you know that you've done your stitch count right. Okay, so I'm just going to count here and show you. So this is the first 4 chains that I made. So this 1 single crochet here, the first chain will count as 1 single crochet. Okay, so that's 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so here I've made my 6 single crochets ready, and then after your last single crochet here, you're going to chain 3 again. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and then we can finish off our row 1. Okay, and to do that, all you need to do is work a slip stitch into that first chain space. So from the 4 chains that we made at the beginning, this is my first chain here, right? So into that first chain space from the 4 chains, we're going to make a slip stitch. Okay, so to do that, all you need to do is insert your hook into that first chain space, grab your yarn, pull it through and pull it through again. Okay, so that's a slip stitch into the first chain, and we are done with our row 1. Okay, and this is how your row 1 should look like, and you've got these 6 sort of, it looks like a flower, right? It looks like a flower, and you just make sure that you have 6 of these dome like shapes or your petals so far. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and now we are ready to start with row 2. So to begin row 2, you're going to start with a simple chain 1. Okay, like so, and this chain 1 will not count as a stitch. Okay, it'll just it's just there to help with the height of the stitches. It won't be counted as a stitch. Okay, now after that, you're going to go back into that same stitch space right here. Okay, and work 1 single crochet. Okay, so you're going to work 1 single crochet back into the same stitch space where we joined to finish off our row 1. Okay, so you're going to go back into that same stitch space. Okay, grab your yarn, pull through. You've got 2 loops on our hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through both the loops. So we just worked 1 single crochet right at the beginning of row 2. Okay, now after that, we're going to make a picot stitch on top of this single crochet. So to do a picot stitch, all you need to do is first chain 3. Okay, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3 like so. Okay, and then you're going to work a slip stitch into the first chain from these 3 chains that we just made, right? So these are the 3 chains we just made, 1, 2 and 3. So you're going to go back into this first chain here and work a slip stitch. So you're going to insert your hook into that first chain like so, grab your yarn, pull through and pull through again. Okay, so in doing so we have made a picot stitch. So this is how it will look like. Okay, and that will be just on top of the single crochet we worked. Okay, so now we can move on to our first gap space. So if you remember these chain 3 spaces that we made in row 1, okay, so this chain 3 space, okay, just below that is your gap spaces. So here, as you can see clearly, you can see it in the next one. Here we have a chain 3 space, chain 3 from our previous row, and we have our gap space right there. Chain 3 from the previous row, and we have our gap spaces there. Okay, so the stitches will be the same in each gap space. So what we'll be doing is we'll be working one double crochet, a picot stitch, and another double crochet into the gap space. Okay, when I say double crochet, I'm using the US term. So in the UK, that will be your treble crochet stitch. Okay, so I'll just show you what I mean by all of that. So after this picot stitch that we just made, we are going to first do one double crochet into this gap space, okay, from the previous row, the chain 3 from our previous row. Right here we have these gap spaces, right? So we are going to work one double crochet. So yarn over once, insert your hook into that gap space, grab your yarn, pull through. We've got 3 loops on our hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. So we just worked one double crochet into this gap space. Right, now we're going to make a larger picot stitch. So for that, you're going to chain 5. Okay, so you're going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so here we've made a chain 5, and then you're just going to slip stitch back into the first chain to make a picot stitch. Okay, just as we did for the smaller one here. This one will be a little larger since we chained 5 instead of chain 3. That's the only difference. Okay, so after you chain 5, you're going to go back into that first chain space here and work a slip stitch. Okay, like so. So we just worked a slip stitch and we finished the larger picot stitch here. Okay, and after that you're going to work one double crochet back into the same gap space we just worked this double crochet into. So the same gap space, we're going to go back there and work one double crochet. Okay, so yarn over once again, insert your hook into the same gap space we just worked into, grab our yarn, pull through. We've got 3 loops on our hook. Right, you're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. Okay, so this is how your row 2 should look like so far. Okay, so this is basically the stitches that we'll be doing all the way around. Okay, so you're just going to repeat what we just did all the way around, and that will complete our row 2. So I'll just show it to you again. So after this double crochet in the last double crochet in the gap space, you're going to move to the next stitch space. So this space right here, okay, which is basically on top of the single crochet from the previous row. So this is our single crochet from the previous row, right? So into the top of that single crochet first, we'll be working one single crochet. Okay, so you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch space right here. So basically into the top of the single crochet from the previous row, grab your yarn, pull through. We've got 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through both the loops. So we worked one single crochet right into the top of the single crochet from the previous row. Okay, like so. And then after that, we're going to make a small picot stitch. So you're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. Right, and slip stitch into the first chain, okay, from the 3 chains that we just made. So you're going to make a slip stitch right there. Okay, right, so we are done with that, and now we can move on to the gap space. So this is the gap space here. Right, so into this gap space we'll be working one double crochet, a larger picot stitch, so that's chain 5 and slip stitch back to the first chain, and then one more double crochet into the same gap space. Okay, I hope now the pattern is more clear. So first we'll work our double crochet first. So yarn over, insert your hook into the gap space, grab your yarn, pull through, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. So we've worked 1 double crochet into the gap space, right? Now we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, and then you're going to slip stitch back into the first chain to form a larger picot stitch. So insert your hook into that first chain space, grab your yarn, pull through and pull through again. So there we have our picot stitch. Okay, and then we're going to work 1 double crochet back into the same gap space we just worked into. So this one right here, we'll work another double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook into the gap space, grab your yarn, pull through. We've got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over the first 2 loops, yarn over the next 2 loops. So that's it. So as you can see, the pattern is repetitive. So you're basically going to repeat this all the way around. Okay, I'll just show it to you once more. So what you're going to do first is work 1 single crochet above the single crochet from the previous row. So if you can see carefully, this is a single crochet from row 1. Okay, so onto the top of this single crochet from the previous row, we are going to work 1 single crochet for row 2. Okay, so after you finish the stitches in this gap space, you're going to straight away insert your hook into the top of the single crochet from the previous row, grab your yarn, pull it through. We've got 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through both the loops. Okay, so we just made 1 single crochet. Now we're going to make a small picot stitch. So you're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. And then you're going to slip stitch back to the first chain right here. So insert your hook into the first chain from the 3 chains that we just made, grab your yarn, pull through and pull through again. So we're done with our first picot stitch. Okay, now we can move on to the gap space. So this gap space right here. Okay, so into the gap space we now work 1 double crochet, a large picot stitch and 1 double crochet again. So you're going to yarn over once, insert your hook into the gap space like so, grab your yarn, pull through. We've got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. So we worked 1 double crochet into the gap space. Right now we're going to make a large picot stitch. So you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, and then we are going to slip stitch back into the first chain from the 5 chains that we just made. So insert your hook into the first chain like so, grab your yarn, pull through and pull through again. So we are done with the large picot stitch. Okay, and then you're going to go back into the gap space and do 1 double crochet. So yarn over once, insert your hook back into the same gap space, grab your yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so we are basically done with half of our row 2. So just repeat this all the way around and I'll show you how to finish your row 2. So here I'm about to finish my row 2, but just before that I wanted to show you one more repeat of the stitches just in case it wasn't so clear. Okay, so when you finish 1 gap space, you're going to go to the single crochet, the next single crochet from the previous row. So this is my single crochet from the previous row, right? So I'm going to go right on top of that single crochet and work 1 single crochet first. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook into the top of the single crochet from the previous row, grab my yarn, pull through. I've got 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through both the loops. Right, so I just worked 1 single crochet above the single crochet from our previous row, okay, from our row 1. Okay, and then after that I'm going to make a small picot stitch. So I'm going to chain 3 first. So 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain from the 3 chains that we just made. So this one right here. Okay, I'm going to make a slip stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook into that first chain space like so, grab my yarn, pull through and pull through again. Okay, so we've got our small picot stitch. Now we can move onto the gap space. Okay, so this will be my last gap space for row 2. Okay, and I'm going to work 1 double crochet, a large picot, and then come back to the gap space and work 1 double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to yarn over once, insert my hook into this gap space right here, grab my yarn, pull through. I've got 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. So that's 1 double crochet. I'm then going to chain 5, 1 2 3 4 5, right? And then to make my large picot, what I'm going to do is slip stitch into the first chain right here from the 5 chains that we just made. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook right there into the first chain, grab my yarn, pull through, and pull through again. So that's my large picot stitch. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is work 1 double crochet back into the same gap space that we just worked into. Okay, so work another double crochet there, and that's about it. So here we've reached the end of my row 2. Right, so to finish off row 2, all you need to do is work a slip stitch into the single crochet we made at the beginning of row 2. Remember, when we started our row 2, we chained 1 and then we made a single crochet back into the same stitch space, right? So right here, okay, so I'm just going to work a slip stitch right here to complete my row 2. So after I finished my stitches in the last gap space, all I'm going to do is insert my hook into the top of the first single crochet of my row 2, like so. Grab my yarn, pull through, and pull through again. Okay, so that basically completes our row 2. And now to finish off our project, you're just going to chain 1, right, and then you're going to get your scissors, leave a little bit of yarn to sew in the ends, and cut off your yarn, right, and then all you're going to do is just pull your hook through, making a nose right here, tighten it, and you're basically done. You just have to sew in the ends. Okay, and remember the first loose end at the beginning. Okay, if you worked it into your row 1 stitches like how I worked here, then you can just probably just tighten the loose end like so. Okay, to make that center circle smaller if you want to. Okay, and then you can cut the excess off. If you haven't worked your stitches in row 1, then you'll have to sew in the ends as well. Okay, so I'll just sew in my this last end here, and I'll be right back. So I've just sewed in my ends and my small snowflake is complete. I hope you could follow this tutorial and you can make your nice cute snowflakes with ease. Please give this video a thumbs up if you could, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Just click on the red button below the video and you will be notified whenever I upload a new tutorial. Okay, also if you would like to learn how to crochet the largest snowflake like this one here, okay, I have another tutorial on this as well, so I will leave all the links in the description box below so it's easier for you to find. Alright, and I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless. Have a wonderful day ahead, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.